Okay, for problem 19, you're given something and then you're asked for something. What are you given? You're given the log base b of n to the fourth power is equal to 8. I'd rewrite the log as 4 log base b of n is equal to 8, which means I know the log base b of n is just equal to the number 2. Then what they ask for? They ask for log base b of 1 over n. Let's write down what that means. It means log base b of 1 minus log base b of n. Well, log base b of 1 is just 0 minus log base b of n. Well, I just figured out it's 2. So what do you get? 0 minus 2, which is minus 2. That's choice A. All right, let's go to the next one. Next one says condense. One step at a time. Log base 2. This would be x to the 1/2 power, or root x. Next one would be plus log base 2 of y to the 4th power. I'll put that in parentheses. Minus log base 2 of z cubed. All right. Next up, let's write this down as a single log. We'll condense it. It's going to be a fraction. Denominator is going to be z cubed. And then you're going to get y4, and you get root x. Okay, next question. Slant asymptote, long division. X plus 3 divided to 2x squared plus no x's plus 7. What times x will give you 2x squared? 2x. That's 2x squared plus 6x. You're going to subtract. You get minus 6x plus 7. Then minus 6. You get minus 6x minus 18. You can actually stop here if you like, because all we're looking for is this here. What's that going to be? Y is going to be equal to 2x minus 6. Do I see that in the key? I do. It's letter E. All right. Let's make sure we've answered all questions on this page. For the next page, we did A. We did, I'm sorry, not A. We did 19. We did 20. I identified an answer in 20 and 21. Let's go to the next page. Next page is another log problem. So let's write this down. And what does it say? Log base 10 of x is equal to 3. That's what's a given. What do they ask for? What's x? Well, it looks pretty easy to do. X is going to be 10 cubed. What's 10 cubed? It's 1,000. That's going to be choice B now. All right, let's go to the next one. Next one says on the limit if it exists. And remember, we've been doing these by sign analysis. So what I know about it's over here is I know that the bottom takes on a 0 plus or minus 1. All right. The top, let me just remind you about this. I'd like to be able to factor that, but I can't factor it using my finger, so maybe quadratic formula. But as I do this, I start to realize that if I just look at the discriminant of this thing over here, so it's going to be b squared, which would be 9, minus 4 times 5 is just 20. It's complex. All right, what do I know about this thing? The top's always positive. So let's do our sign analysis now. Top's always positive. So I'm basically just looking at the bottom. So take a number after 1, I don't know, like 10, for example. This would be positive. If you tried 0 between minus 1 and 1 is 0, plug it in, you get negative. If you take a number below minus 1, let me just write the numbers I'm using over here. I think I said 10, 0. Let's do minus 10 here. Plug it in, what do you get? Well, geez, you would get what? You get a positive number, all right? I'm going to get my eraser out because I'm starting to realize that maybe that might look like the answer to the question, and it's not. Let me just erase this over here. I'll erase this, and I'll erase this. And I'm going to erase this too. I don't need that, actually. Again, it's kind of easy to look at that and know the top's always positive. So what I want to do now here is just write the limit down. Limit as x goes to 1 from the right side. And what do you get over here? X squared plus 3x plus 5. I'll write the factored forms down. X minus 1, x plus 1. What do you get over here? Well, look at it. You're to the right of 1. You're on this side. So that means it's positive. And what's happening? The bottom, if you plug in 1, you'd get, 1 plus 3 plus 5, which is 9. It's a finite number, non-zero. And the bottom is 0. It's blowing up. So what do I know? I found the limit. And this is the work over here. By the way, you don't need to put the sign analysis down, but if you do, that's fine. All right, let's do the next one. Next one says find the equation of the horizontal asymptote. Before I go forward, I want to check to make sure this is correctly factored. So x squared minus 3x plus 2. Let's see, x squared minus 3x plus 2. The bottom, you pull a 2 out, you get x squared minus 1. So it looks pretty good, all right? What do I know about this thing immediately? I know that this thing here would equal x minus 2 over 2 times x plus 1. And why is that? The x minus 1 would cancel off provided the x is not 1. All right? So that's kind of important because it actually simplifies it a great deal. But what they asked for, equation of horizontal asymptote, that's going to be a limit, and they did say show work. This is the work for it. X goes to infinity of the function. And again, you should be a little better at this. You're looking at leading coefficients. It's x squared over 2x squared, which would be 1/2. And then you look at the limit as x goes to minus infinity of f of x, and that's also going to be 1/2. So my horizontal asymptote is going to be y equals 1/2. That's done, and we got the work to support it. The vertical, there's only one candidate for vertical, by the way, because at 1, this thing's got a removable discontinuity. So I'm just looking at minus 1. So let's write this down for you. The limit as x approaches minus 1 from the right side of f of x, and I'm looking at the limit as x approaches minus 1 from the left side of f of x. All right, I want to point out we're kind of looking at this over here, and I want to do the sign analysis on it. The sign analysis is going to be with respect to the number minus 1, and I realize, you know, the other number you're looking at is 2, but I'm not that really interested in 2. I'm looking at around the minus 1. I just want to look a little bit to the right and left of it. And, you know, to the right of minus 1, but maybe I should put the 2 down for you. 2's over here. So I'll talk about taking a number over here that's, you know, to the right of minus 1. And that would be 0. And what would you left off? You left off with a negative number on top, positive on bottom, so overall negative. All right? What do you do now? Go below minus 1. And the number below minus 1 to choose would be a minus 2. I'm sorry, I spaced out for a second. That's going to be negative on top, negative on bottom, positive overall. So what do I know about this over here? It's going to be a blow-up problem, but I'm looking at signs now. To the right of minus 1, it's going to be negative, and to the left of minus 1 is going to be positive, and they're blowing up, a division by 0. So what do you go over here? X equals minus 1. All right, let's go to the next question. I want to make sure I'm answering these things. Just give me 1 second, make sure I've answered all the questions. We got the B, 23, and we did 24. I want to make sure I'm not leaving anything out of that. And okay, give me 1 second. Go to the next page, right? Oh, another multiple choice one. And I realize some students are not liking the multiple choice, by the way. One thing about multiple choice is that sometimes you make a mistake, and if your answer is not listed, you know you made a mistake, by the way. So anyway, looking at this thing over here, I'm going to say, you know, it says which of the following could be, you know, the function for that graph. And I'm looking at this thing over here, and I'm going to say it couldn't be A, because A is growing, all right? That's 2 to the x power. This is growing. All right. So then I'm left with these 3 over here. My question is, which one is it going to be? And, you know, you might say, I don't know about this. But if you thought about it, if x goes to infinity, you know, if x goes towards infinity, you're getting what's called the horizontal asymptote. And I definitely see it. And that horizontal, looking at it, it looks like the number 3. So it's going to be y equals 3. Which one would produce that over here? Well, it looks like only E would do that. E would produce a horizontal asymptote of 3. So I'll go with A. Let's go to the next question. Next question, it's an open question. You got to put the work down. And the domain of this thing over here is 3 minus x is greater than 0. Looks fairly simple. Let me just put this down. This is domain, by the way. And that's going to be 3, and then put the x here. So the domain of it is where x is less than 3. So I'll write down as minus infinity up to 3. All right? Now, the other thing they ask about is the x-intercept. And the x-intercept, you set the y to be 0. Let me put this over here. 0 equals the natural log of 3 minus x. And I'll write it as an exponential. That's going to be e to the 0, which is 1, equals 3 minus x. And then I'm going to say, gee, what do you do over here? You add x to both sides, subtract 1, you get x equals 2. So I got my x-intercept. and my x-intercept is going to be 2 comma 0. Again, this is domain. Put a little circle around it. And this is going to be the x-intercept. And again, I'll circle that too. Right, the next thing it says, let's see, domain x-intercept. Oh, vertical asymptote. That looks pretty simple. The vertical asymptote, VA, is going to be x equals 3. Let me see what else they ask for. Nothing else. I want to put a y-intercept down because I think it might be easy to come up with. But you know what? They didn't ask for it. If it looks difficult, maybe I won't put it down. So what's that going to be? It's going to be y equals, and you set the x to be 0, the natural log of 3. And, certainly you could write this down. You might say, I don't know what that number is. It's slightly bigger than 1 because 3 is slightly bigger than a. So I'm going to say here, the x is 0, and then you'd get the natural log of 3. All right, this might help me graph it. They didn't ask for that, though. You don't have to put that down. So let's go over here. My picture goes down, and let's put this down. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put my vertical asymptote in now. And the vertical asymptote is, again, x equals 3. That's that line. I know my x-intercept is 2. And I know I got a y-intercept, and it's slightly bigger than 1 because the natural log of 3 is slightly bigger than the natural log of v, and natural log of v is just 1. So something like this over here. So I think I know it looks like a log, so something, and again, I'm not saying this is the best looking picture, but something like this over here, all right? And let me see if I've answered all the question. Domain, I got that part done. X-intercept, I got that part done. Vertical asymptote, I got that part done. And I sketched the graphs. That looks good. Let's go to the next one. Some more multiple choice questions. Over here they say what integers is between. Well, if I were thinking about this, log base 10 of 1732 is between two integer values, by the way. And the way I would do this over here, I'd say, oh, log base 10. Well, what numbers is easy to evaluate below 1732? That would be 1,000. That's pretty easy. And what number above this would be easy for me to do? And that would be 10,000. All right. What are the integers here? This would be 3. This is log base 10, 1732. And this is going to be, log base 10 of 10,000 is going to be the number 4. All right. So let's see if we've got that. And if I can see that in the key, that would be great. And that's going to be choice, making sure I'm looking at this correctly. This is going to be choice B. All right. I want to go back to the back page, make sure I've answered the other two questions here, because I always say, leave something blank. No, I think I did that. Yeah, let's keep going. All right, this one looks a little complicated, but I'm always say logs that they're strange looking, and I want to write it so it doesn't look so strange to me. And someone says, how do you do that? I write it as an exponential, and that means x to the 5th power would be 2b, that's the base, raised to the power t. All right? Then the question becomes, what is their question? And they do say b is greater than a half, by the way. They go on to say, what's x? All right, how do I do that? Well, I take the 5th root of both sides. And what do you get over here? 2b. And again, I'm raising both sides to the 1/5, so it'll be t over 5. Do I see this in the key? I think so. Let me make sure I'm seeing that. Yep, it's letter A. All right, we're done. All right, if you're on the exam and you're done quickly, you go back over the exam and review what you've answered. Sometimes you make a mistake, you misunderstood, you didn't answer all the questions, whatever. Look back over it. Thank you.